Okay, everybody, so here we are. We're 5 days away from our big launch. Practice on it. It's a big thing, big deal. Last time we talked about how, everybody here has a background in health at some level. Myself personally, I went to graduate school for clinical psych, minored in neuroscience. So the brain's really interesting to me, obviously, and I like to make connections whenever I can. So today we're going to talk a little bit about what's in our POI coaching program, but also what's made available to any of our partners. So whether you're a silver, gold, platinum partner, whether you're integrating a piece of software with our cloud-based platform, whether you're an entrepreneur looking to build a company with us, or you're a franchise looking to build a custom solution with us. Whatever it is you're looking to do, we want to talk about the practice lifecycle today. So we're going to talk about that and how it compares to actually one of the coolest parts of your brain, which is the hypothalamus. Hypothalamus is really cool, many of you know, because it controls and regulates a lot of the autonomous functions in our body. So blood, temperature, salt levels, everything. And so what's really cool about it is we can make the analogy to this structure to the idea of change, because just like your hypothalamus, in our professional lives, we're naturally looking for some level of homeostasis. We have some level at which we're comfortable pursuing goals. So some people are super type A, they have to be moving forward. Everything has to be, they don't care about seeing the trees, they just want to get from A to B as quickly as they can. All the way down to people who really just like to have a very clear understanding of what it is they need to do and get through it day to day, and that's kind of their thing, right? They like to be told, what their agenda is. Obviously, you can tell just from my description that I'm very, very type A. My perspective is, let's figure it out, let's do it, let's get to A to B, from A to B as quickly as we can. So this is interesting because like the hypothalamus, we respond to outside triggers in real time. And so, when there's a temperature change, right, our body recognizes that, and we have all kinds of responses like, shivering to increase body temperature, the goosebumps that we get, obviously, which is a legacy from a long time ago when we used to be covered in a lot more hair. But whatever it is, you've got these structures in here that are constantly seeking that homeostasis. And so when we want to create a change, and in this case today we're talking about actually creating a change in a practice. So generally practices are going to want to sit somewhere in the middle of this realm, in the middle of this range. And this range represents an ideal practice life cycle, or really any business life cycle. But in a practice, the first thing we want to do is diagnose. We want to know where the problems are. This is often referred to as like your integration period, right? This is when you're first getting started either with a new technology, a new staff member, a new location, whatever it is, or you're doing all of that at once because you're building a new practice or a new franchise. But we want to diagnose exactly what the issues are, what the root causes of those problems are. And then we want to be able to monitor those things, right? And so we're going to go into tremendous detail throughout the POI coaching program on these 5 topics, but suffice to say that the monitoring stage is where we keep an eye on things, right? This is where you've got those, very type A, type B people who really like to look at reports, who really like to, they want 100 different reports or hundreds of reports. They love monitoring, fantastic. The next level is our control. This is where we can actually make sure that things get done when they're supposed to get done. So this is the delegation and verification stage. This is where we're actually making sure that things are happening the way they need to. Optimizing is where we actually look at how we're monitoring and controlling whatever diagnosed issue we're trying to solve, and actually coming up with new ways to accelerate the results that we're seeing. So maybe by diagnosing, monitoring, and controlling, we're seeing our no-show rate in a practice in one of our offices go from 20% to 15%. So now we want to take a look at that and figure out how can we optimize that so that they can do that faster and maybe see a higher reduction in the no-show rate, maybe down to 10% or 5%. So optimization becomes really key. The last level, and this is really cool because this is unique to POI, no one else has this, is our automation stage. And this is where we're actually talking about how can we take what we diagnosed, what we're monitoring, what we're controlling, and what we've already optimized, and actually just automate it so that instead of having to constantly figure out how to optimize new things, we actually have independent structures, independent people that are working on all those different things, kind of like structures in your brain. You've got this hypothalamus. It's not like, you're cold and suddenly you think I need to shiver, right? Your body starts to do it autonomously. It starts to do it on its own. And so your body has figured out that this is an optimizing technique. This is a way to control my body temperature. It's optimized that control so it knows exactly when to do it. And it's automated it so that it does it on its own. It doesn't need your help, right? As a practice owner, let's say, or as an office manager, or as a billing manager. So these are all wonderful things. So keeping with the example of patients missing appointments, of no-shows, if we can diagnose an issue with a no-show, we can monitor our no-shows, we can control our no-shows, maybe through making sure that every time a patient appointment is missed, someone is told to follow up on that no-show, and then we optimize it by creating a way for patients to automatically notify our office staff when they miss an appointment. And then we automate that by actually creating ways for our staff to recognize new patterns. So for example, if they recognize that no-shows are happening because of, it just happens to be that time of year, bad weather, whatever it is. Here in Florida, we have, a lot of thunderstorms now this time of year. So maybe we're noticing that that's an issue. Well, now that we've automated it, we're not having, as office managers, practice owner, we're not having to figure this out on our own anymore. Now we've got staff that's autonomous. They've actually identified this, and now they're going to go back and diagnose and bring you in on maybe a problem resolution. Or maybe they'll figure it out on their own, and when you have a staff meeting, they'll tell you, hey, I figured out that patients are missing a lot of their appointments because of weather concerns. We're monitoring it. We're coming up with ways to control for this to make sure that they are rescheduled, without risking their lives. We're optimizing that by maybe, making sure that anytime this happens that they give us a special note when it's a weather concern, right? And, again, we're automating it so that it's not something where you as the office manager, you as a practice owner have to constantly be worried about it. So once a week, once a month, I'll update you on the numbers and making sure that that our patients are taken care of. So as we go through here, as I mentioned, 5 days to launch. Yesterday I talked about how we were, each day going to release a video, and my passion for things like neuroscience, we'll keep talking about how our brains actually directly affect the way that we think. This is an example actually of an analogy between how our bodies autonomously regulate certain functions and how that plays into how POI and our coaching program and basically everything that we do falls through this practice life cycle: diagnosing, monitoring, controlling, optimizing, and of course, automating. So I'm really excited, guys. I'm looking forward to seeing questions from you guys. Please comment. Let me know if you have questions. If you have things that are going on in your practice that you want to talk about. Obviously, stay generalized. Don't violate HIPAA or anything like that. But if you're running into an issue in your office, let us know, because we've worked across 2,400 users. We've been around for over 15 years. For us, this is our passion. We love doing this. So tell us what's going on. Tell us how we can help.